Hello, everyone, and welcome to the San Diego Festival of Science and Engineering's Career Talks with the New School of Architecture and Design. My name is Adriana de Trinidad. I am a field representative with New School, and with me today I have Daniela Deutsch, head of the architecture programs at the university.
Hello all, once again my name is Daniela Deutsch and I am the head of the architectural programs at the New School of Architecture and Design in San Diego. I'm very happy to be sharing with our viewers the experience of two students in the field of architecture and their time at New School so far. Today we have Wingman Chan and Michael Sintron speaking to us. Really quick for our guest today, could you give a brief introduction of yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Wingman. I am an undergraduate fifth-year architecture student at New School of Architecture and Design in San Diego. I'm minoring healthy urbanism and I'm graduating this June.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Michael Cintron. I'm a third year in the Bachelor of Architecture program at New School of Architecture and Design in San Diego. I have minors in both healthy urbanism and graphic design. I currently work for AIA San Diego.
Wonderful. So thank you for your introductions. For those of you not familiar with our university, the New School of Architecture and Design is an architecture, design, and construction management university located in downtown San Diego, California. We have contributed to these fields since 1980, and we are happy to report we're still going strong.
That is true. Today we are exploring the world of architecture through the experience of our two students, and our aim is to examine its impact in their lives. So, Wingman and Michael, first question is, what made you choose architecture?
I'll start. For me, it's definitely very related to my background. I was born and raised in Hong Kong, which is a famous big city full of tall architecture. And living in such a city, I think to every single resident, we kind of just have a piece of the city design in mind, regardless of we want to contribute or not. And for me, I am more interested in it than all the other friends of mine because my dad is an architect and an interior designer. So with my family and the city I grew up in, I think all these background setup kind of get me into having a general interest in architecture. And I would describe myself as a person that I am very interested in arts and design. And architecture is definitely one of the forms that would be a lot more practical and would contribute to daily living the most. And that's why I chose architecture.
Thank you. Michael?
Yeah, I actually didn't know what I wanted to do for a long time, about 5 years at least. But after some searching, I decided to give architecture a try because it combined a few of my interests in art, construction, math, things like that. I had a professor pretty early on tell me, you don't have to be an artist to be an architect, but as an architect, you can be an artist. I think that really stuck with me. So I tried architecture in community college, and after working for a firm, I decided that I really wanted to continue my education and become a licensed architect. And that's kind of what brought me to the point that I'm at now.
That's wonderful. So actually, because as a field representative, I travel to different schools and I talk to students, and that's what I tell students. There is art in architecture. There is a science component and there's an art component. And so if those are things that you're interested in, you can always marry them, and then go into the world of architecture. So that's wonderful, Michael. That's part of your story. And Wingman, actually, my mom is an architect. So I was raised with an architect's mind and perspective in the world, and it's very beautiful. And it does definitely influence you to then think critically and to think, minor details. So your father must have been a fantastic influence in your life because you are pursuing the same thing. So I think that's great. So second question for the both of you. what would be a powerful lesson you had during your years you've spent working in architecture or and at New School so far? So what are the lessons that you've been learning, something that stood out to you in the 5 years that you've been working in the profession of architecture?
For me, I kind of have a cliche answer. I would say communication. It sounds like, at least for all of us here, when we talk about communication, it will be like, oh, group project, I'm trying to communicate with my teammate. I think that for sure is one of the really big aspects. But one of the main thing I realized is communicating with people from different culture backgrounds. That actually gives me a really good insight of their architecture, of if I'm linking it back to what we're studying as the main thing. Because if when I'm back home, I'm with a bunch of people that grew up pretty similar as how I grew up, speaking the same language. So as much as I talk, I would learn their different living habits, but not really like a huge differences in terms of culture aspect. But coming here, talking to people that grew up here, people that are from Middle Eastern country or from Europe, all of them, just from walking inside their house, taking off their shoes or not, is already like an aspect that would change the design in the smallest detail. And that makes me realize how important it is to, I guess, almost commit to talk to other people and actually get to know each other. And at the end, like, architecture isn't really a one person job as great as you could be. There is the group project aspect, of course, but there's also get to know what people would need, I would say.
Awesome. Michael, what about you?
I think one of the most important things that I learned was the difference between architecture and buildings. A lot of people can actually make a building, contractors, engineers, uh, general construction. And you think it doesn't sound that hard, but then when you're in school, you think about more than just four walls and a roof. You learn that there's really an impact that architecture can have, and how it can affect the way that people think, feel, and experience a place. So in that regard, you want to make sure you're designing healthy places that make people feel good.
Thank you both for these beautiful answers. What I like to hear as the head of the department. Very, very proud of you. So, last question. We keep this short here today to give everybody a glimpse in what we do. So, what are you planning to do with your degree? So again, Wingman and Michael.
I would say definitely one of the things I wanted to do is to move towards getting the licensure, since having the degree is already one of the requirements that I will be fulfilling this June. Then it's a path to choose to fulfill to get my license. Other than that, to have the degree, I feel like it already, like, in during my time in school and now that I'm finishing school, there's a lot of opportunity I already have, that I can talk to other people in the similar industry, not just architecture industry, but maybe like realty, urban design, construction management. I even get opportunity to go do competition that are related to it because I'm doing this degree. So I guess in the future, other than the licensure matter, I also kind of want to see at the end which industry I will be stepping into. Ideally architecture, but I can possibly end up in other aspects that are related to what I learned from school.
And Michael?
Yeah. Well, I also plan on becoming licensed, just like Wingman. That's one of my main goals, as stated earlier. But I've also become aware that, yeah, there's some different paths that you can take. Architecture really sets you up for more than just being a traditional architect. And I think in my schooling, I've learned a lot about some of the historic injustices in housing and urban design in our country. So I think moving forward, personally, I'd like to pursue a career where I can help bring social justice and equity to the forefront in designing our cities, whether that be through architecture, planning, or development. Um, I just want to make sure that great architecture is accessible to everyone.
That's true.
So one of the things that I see as a pattern in both of you as students, but in general in the minds of an architect, right? Because you've been trained heavily to think like an architect, correct? And then for those of us that have been raised by an architect, we're
Mhm.
thinking like one, right? It's that yes, you're not only thinking about, Michael, the four walls on the roof. You're not just thinking about healthy urbanism, but you're also thinking about humanity. You're thinking about how is this going to impact other people? How is this going to impact not only the quality of their life, the neighborhood, the cities, but also their health? How is it going to affect them psychologically? How is it going to affect them generationally? And I think that that is a crucial part of architecture that I don't know, you'll have to tell me whether that's something that is discussed a lot, whether that's communicated. It's the heart of the architect. It's not just the mind of the architect, but it's also the heart of it. And so I thank both of you for sharing what architecture has meant to you and what you would like to contribute to the field of architecture. I see where your heart is at, and I wish you both the best of luck. Wingman, June is just around the corner. Girl, you got this. And Michael, you have 2 years left. So, to the both of you, I wish you the best, and I know that your heart is in the right place, and you are going to make a great impact in your sphere of influence, wherever that might be. And to Daniela Deutsch, professor and head of the architecture programs at New School, thank you so much for your time and bringing these students together to share with us what they have been through and even your own contribution and impact in their lives as well. So thank you, Daniela, Michael, and Wingman. My name is Adriana de Trinidad with the New School of Architecture and Design, and we'll be talking very soon again. Thank you.